how do you deal with reintegration in social events as people kind of transition into their day-to-day life? Because again, I eat whole food, plant-based, me and my wife do, and obviously that's what we preach all the time. But there's always the odd, hey, there's a family gathering, there's a business meeting, you're traveling to, I have a lot of clients that travel to different countries and trying to navigate eating this way. So how do you guys deal with that or teach that?
Well, we've studied that the hallmark or commonality of people who've lost 50 to 100 pounds and kept it off for 5 years or more under our program were those people who walk the walk and talk the talk, which means they like the opportunity to be in public and to demonstrate their dietary preferences because it gives them these superpowers to have goodwill for other people, to be demonstrative of what they've achieved. If they go and eat off their diet, then they're not having an opportunity to have goodwill, creative goodwill for others. They love the fact that they're now a role model and what they've achieved. Yeah. And they've also liked the foods they're eating, and they bring their own food. They show their own salad dressings. They show how great healthy desserts can taste. They're proud of their Nutritarian food and how great it can taste and how their taste buds acclimated to it. But what I'm saying right now is this, is that we did a lot of research on this, discovering why people who were so rah-rah excited about eating this way, why they went back to their own home environments and failed and went back to eating conventionally and gained the weight back. The commonality of those people is that they felt pressured by the cultural and social environment around them, that they weren't fitting in.
Yeah.
And it caused them too much stress. So they went back to eating normally. So we train people, I talk about that if you don't have robust emotional health, you can't be comfortable being a health nut and being different. So we train their emotional health, because when you're raised in America, you think your self-esteem is based on how people like you and how they praise you. And that's called externally generated self-esteem. That's like junk food. It's a bottomless pit that once you start getting it and feeling power from that, you just want more and more and more. You're never satisfied. Yeah. It's like you're a movie star, you're a rock star. You're not happy with all the praise. You're miserable. It doesn't lead to you an ultimate good feeling in your life as you get older. Internally generated self-esteem comes from your own behavior, not from other people's behavior. It doesn't matter what people think of you. It's what you think of them. It's how you see the outside world and how much you appreciate and are grateful for the world outside of you that isn't you. And every opportunity to interact with another individual gives you the chance to show them your creative goodwill for them and to show them love or care or interest in their life. And so a person says to me, "Oh, if I had to eat like you eat, I'd rather be dead, because who would want to have no enjoyment from eating? And where do you get your protein?"
A few times.
Yeah. So now is my response going to try to give them a comeback or push my own ego up so I can feel better about myself that he insulted me or something? I don't care about the insult. I don't care about the ego. I only have one purpose, and that's to see how I can be in some way potentially useful to this individual, to show them I care about them in some way. And maybe talking about diet or nutrition isn't the best thing right now. Maybe it's just showing them that I care about them and want the best for them. Maybe it's just showing them I have some interest in their life. And so the point I'm making right now is that we build internal self-esteem from the way we act and how we see, not from how people like us. We have to rechange the cultural phenomenon, get rid of our egos and trying to impress other people, and realize that when we demonstrate how we live so healthfully, it increases our potential to have goodwill for others, as well as take care of our own life. We can show people more love, and we can show people the potential to maybe not tonight, maybe 3 months from now or 3 years from now, you'll be affected by knowing me and how I acted back then. But I would have taken away any opportunity to have a positive effect on you if I wasn't being consistent myself in my own behavior, and consistent in how I eat, how I exercise regularly, and how I'm continually kind and thoughtful to other people. Then I can earn their respect over time. So the answer to your question is that we do try to train people with the skills they need when they go home, and I try to train people a new way to a mental outlook on life, and an outlook that hopefully will make them happier and more content and more at peace.
It's that leading by example. And I think a lot of people, when they transition to eating plant-based, don't accept that they kind of become a walking billboard for the choices that they've made. And I feel like once that kicks in, to your point, it makes it easier for people to be compliant and to lead by example and to continue to live this lifestyle. But I don't think everyone understands that, because it is so different than what society deems normal. By default, you become a walking billboard for it.
100%. That's, I remember this last year I was invited to speak at a doctor-run kind of lifestyle medicine seminar, right? And I was the keynote speaker. And they invited me to fly in from out of town, and they took me out to dinner. And so who took me out to dinner? All the other doctors who invited me to speak at the lifestyle seminar. And they went to a restaurant, and they're eating pasta with olive oil and drinking wine,
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to like a lifestyle medicine. I thought you guys were all lifestyle medicine doctors. I'm the only one on the table who's not drinking wine, not eating oil and grease or white flour, who ordered a salad and some broccoli on the side. And, but I felt that number one, I wouldn't eat that stuff anyway. But number two, it made my message have more impact. The fact that I'm living the life, I'm not just teaching it, I'm living it too,
Just because you brought that up about the restaurant and wine and pasta, I've noticed from just having had some decent success in my life in the past several years, and you're put in different types of circles of people that are more successful, and their statuses. There is a status to eating a certain way. There's a status to ordering wine, going to the nice restaurant that will have all of these foods, right?
Right.
How do you navigate that with people and for yourself? Because I have a lot of like really high achieving clients that are in that high tax bracket, that are like, it is very hard to step away from that, because if you're in that world, that's all it is around you. There's a status to eating in certain places and eating a certain way.
Yes, and having those friendships and the camaraderie, and you're not going to look right with your friends if you don't do it with them, and all that stuff, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said to these people, have any relatives or people close to you that have been stabbed by a knife or shot by a bullet in their torso or head? And they say, of course not. What are you talking about? And I say, well, how about heart attacks or cancers, strokes, any of those? They go, yeah, of course. Everybody raises their hand. And I say, do you think that you're going to be the one exception? That you live in this dangerous neighborhood. You're living in it, and don't you want to get out of those danger? What would you want to continue to live in that neighborhood, knowing the expectation that what's going to happen to you is the same thing that's happening to your elderly relatives? Is that what you want your later life to be? Or why wouldn't you take advantage of these modern science of nutritional excellence that we've known, the ability that we can add 20 solid years to our life with good, healthy mental and physical capacity to fully enjoy our life without the medical tragedies that befall other Americans? You're not going to escape from the biological laws of cause and effect. If you live like other Americans, you get what other Americans get. So I'm going to ask you the question. Do you think that living that way, the way you're living, to use food as a recreation, is worth it to undergo that kind of tragic later life, to suffer all those years before you die, and to lose your mental faculties, and to be physically unwell, and to have and deal with cancer and that stuff? And do you think your food tastes that much better do you think you enjoy your diet so much more than I enjoy my food? Because I'll tell you right now that my banana ice cream with the macadamia nuts and the real vanilla bean powder tastes better than the junk food, bleach tasting, chemicals, sugary thing that you're eating right there. I enjoy mine more, not less. So number one, you're not enjoying your food more. I'm enjoying my food just as much as you're enjoying yours. Sure, I got used to my food, my taste buds and my taste muscle improved, and I learned a lot of great recipes. But you're not getting more pleasure out of eating. You just think you are. Is it worth it to take 10 or 15 years off your life and to live and by the way, the 10 or 15 years of life could be 20 or 30 years, because a person could suddenly have a heart attack at any minute, and you don't get any guarantees, right? You could be dead at age 65 and be dead.
Yeah.
But the amount of fear and suffering in conventional medicine is just going to doctors and getting tested and measured, and fear of diagnosing and looking for cancers. It's just like a whole mindset of insanity, of living a life of fear. And I speak to doctors this way, and I say, And they'll agree with me. I said, do you want to live like that? Isn't this a much more peaceful way to live, to be living without fear of being sick and letting your natural lifespan come to its ultimate conclusion rather than killing yourself with food? Is it really worth eating bagels and croissants and donuts and pizza and burgers? Is that worth it?
Yeah.
If it's worth it to you, that's up to you. I mean, it's your choice, certainly. I know when I give lectures, people are listening to, I know the way the brain works. Their primitive brain doesn't want to give up their addictive pleasures. They're thinking to themselves, that they're hearing me talk, that this sounds reasonable and scientific and even interesting, but it's not for me. I could never do it because I got this, my family won't eat this way, my job, I travel too much, I'm too old, I can't do, they got all these reasons. The primitive brain wants to hold on to their addictions. But once we address this person's fears and rationalizations and addictive primitive brains, or once we start to address all this with enough education, most people want to make the change.
Yeah.
And most intelligent, logical people can make the change. You can sit down with people, even people who've come to the wrong way of thinking, if they're going to give you enough time and enough attention to really rethink their false beliefs, they can reevaluate them. But if they don't give you the time and attention and effort to really take time to address every little point, it's very hard for them. So that's why doctors can't do it in a medical visit. A person can't come into a doctor and doctor spends a half an hour with a person. They're not going to radically change their life. The person requires more motivation, education, and input. That's what I've come to over the years. And that's why we have a program where people come and stay here for a few months to get on the program. I'm sure that's why you're coaching people and you're keeping people that you're working with them for months and giving them and keep educating and teaching and motivating them to make the right choices. You can't just do it in one 15-minute session.